The year was 2184, and humanity had finally found its place among the stars. Earth, once a small blue dot in the vast universe, was now known for something special: its repair stations. These orbital workshops were the go-to spots for spaceships from all corners of the galaxy. Zara Khan stood at the viewport of Starfix Station Alpha, Earth's busiest repair hub. Her dark eyes scanned the sea of stars, searching for the next challenge. At 28, Zara was already a legend among human engineers. Her hands could fix things that even alien tech couldn't touch. "Zara, we've got a big one coming in," shouted her friend and coworker, Alex. Zara turned, her long ponytail whipping around. "What's the story, Alex?" Alex's eyes were wide with excitement. "It's a Zornian warship. Class 7 destroyer. They say it's unfixable." A smile spread across Zora's face. "Unfixable, huh? We'll see about that." The Zornian ship limped into view. It was massive, easily 10 times the size of the largest human vessel. Its sleek, purple hull was scarred and broken. Zara could see energy leaking from its engines like a bleeding wound. As the ship docked, a group of tall, four-armed aliens stepped out. Their faces were grim. The captain, marked by his elaborate headgear, approached Zora. "Human," he said, his translator making his words sound flat. "We have tried 5 repair stations. None could help. Our ship is beyond saving." Zara looked up at the towering alien. "With all due respect, Captain, nothing's unfixable until I say it is." The Zornian's eyes narrowed. "You are confident." "I'm human," Zara replied with a grin. For the next 3 days, Zara barely slept. She pored over the alien schematics, studied the strange materials, and ran countless simulations. The Zornian tech was like nothing she'd ever seen. It was elegant, advanced, and completely falling apart. On the 4th day, Zara had an idea. It was crazy. It was probably impossible. It was exactly what she needed. "Alex," she called out, "bring me that old microwave from the break room." Alex looked confused, but didn't argue. Soon, Zara was elbow-deep in the ship's engine core, a modified microwave magnetron in one hand and a jury-rigged plasma cutter in the other. The Zornian engineers watched in horror. "What is she doing?" one whispered. "That's not in any repair manual." Zara worked tirelessly, combining human ingenuity with alien tech in ways no one had ever imagined. She repurposed old Earth gadgets, mixed them with Zornian crystals, and created entirely new systems on the spot. Hours turned into days. Zara's clothes were stained with oil and alien fluids. Her hands were bruised and cut. But her eyes shone with determination. On the 7th day, Zara emerged from the engine room. She was exhausted, dirty, but smiling from ear to ear. "It's done," she said simply. The Zornian captain looked skeptical. "Impossible. Our best engineers couldn't." Zara cut him off. "Try it." With a mix of hope and doubt, the Zornians powered up their ship. The engines hummed to life, glowing with an energy brighter and cleaner than ever before. The captain's jaw dropped. How did you do this?" Zara shrugged. "Sometimes you need to think outside the box, or outside the galaxy, in this case." News of Zara's miracle spread faster than light speed. Within days, ships from all over the universe were lining up at Earth's repair stations. Aliens marveled at the human ability to improvise, to see solutions where none seemed to exist. As Zara watched the Zornian ship depart, repaired and improved, Alex stood beside her. "You know," Alex said, "I think you just changed everything for us humans." Zara nodded, her eyes on the stars. "Maybe," she replied. "But more importantly, I think we just proved something." "What's that?" Alex asked. Zara turned to her friend, a spark of adventure in her eyes. "That humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our creativity. Our ability to look at the impossible and say, let's give it a try anyway." As if to emphasize her point, another damaged ship appeared on the horizon, its distress beacon blinking. Zara grinned and cracked her knuckles. "Well," she said, "looks like we got another impossible job to do. You ready?" Alex laughed. "With you. Always." And so, in a universe of advanced aliens and incredible technology, humanity found its niche, not as conquerors or as the most advanced species, but as the fixers, the problem solvers, the ones who could make the impossible possible. One repair at a time, Earth was changing the galaxy. And Zara Khan was leading the way. 6 months had passed since Zara Khan's miraculous repair of the Zornian warship. Earth's repair stations were now busier than ever. Ships from all corners of the galaxy lined up, waiting for the magic touch of human ingenuity. Zara sat in her new office aboard Starfix Station Alpha, surrounded by alien gadgets and human tools. A knock on her door interrupted her tinkering. "Come in," she called. Alex burst in, his face flushed with excitement. "Zara, you won't believe this. We've picked up a strange signal from deep space." Zara's eyebrows shot up. "What kind of signal?" "That's just it," Alex said, shaking his head. "No one knows. It seems to be a call for help, but it's like nothing we've ever seen before." Within hours, news of the mysterious signal spread across the galaxy. The most advanced alien races sent their best ships and brightest minds to investigate. Humans, still seen as newcomers, were left out. But Zara wasn't about to let humanity sit on the sidelines. "We need to be there," she argued to Earth's leaders. "Our way of thinking could be exactly what's needed." After much debate, they agreed. Zara was given permission to assemble a small team and join the galactic effort. Her crew was as diverse as humanity itself. Lay, a historian with a knack for patterns; Shamal, an artist who could visualize complex systems; Maria, a biologist who understood adaptation better than anyone; and Omar, a physicist who loved to break and rebuild things. Their ship was a sight to behold, a refurbished alien vessel, modified with human touches. Solar panels from Earth mixed with alien energy cores. Old car parts found new life in space. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. They arrived last at the signal source, a massive ancient space station that dwarfed even the largest ships present. "It's beautiful," Zara whispered as they docked. Inside, chaos reigned. Alien teams rushed about, frustration evident in their movements. The station was a labyrinth of advanced but inactive technology. Nothing made sense. Zara and her team started their work. While others tried to brute force solutions, the humans took a different approach. Lay studied the station's layout, finding patterns similar to ancient Earth cities. Jamal sketched the complex systems, revealing connections others had missed. Maria noticed how the station's design seemed to mimic living organisms. Omar disassembled and reassembled smaller components, learning their secrets. Days passed. Alien teams made no progress. Some began to leave, declaring the station a lost cause. But Zara's team pressed on. They worked tirelessly, combining their insights. Slowly, a picture emerged. "It's not broken," Zara realized one day. "It's asleep." The others looked at her, confused. "Think about it," she explained. "The patterns, the organic design, the way it resists our attempts to activate it. This station isn't meant to be forced awake. It needs to be gently roused." With this new understanding, they changed tactics. Instead of trying to power up systems, they sent soft energy pulses through the station. They played Earth music, letting the vibrations travel through the structure. They even tried different colored lights, mimicking a sunrise. At first, nothing happened. Alien observers scoffed at the seemingly nonsensical human methods. Then, on the 7th day, the station stirred. Lights flickered to life. A soft hum filled the air. Holographic displays burst into existence, filling the halls with swirling data. The station was awake. As systems came online, The reason for the distress signal became clear. The station was an ancient library, a repository of knowledge from a long-lost civilization. It had sent out a call, seeking beings gentle and creative enough to wake it without causing damage. Only humans had passed the test. In the days that followed, the galaxy changed. Humanity, once seen as upstart newcomers, were now hailed as essential problem solvers. The unique human blend of creativity, empathy, and determination had unlocked the greatest discovery in galactic history. As Zara and her team prepared to return home, now heroes to both humanity and alien races, she couldn't help but smile. "You know," she said to her crew, "I think this is just the beginning. Who knows what other galactic challenges are waiting for the human touch?" The others nodded, eyes bright with the promise of adventures to come. In a universe full of advanced civilizations, humanity had found its place, not through conquest or technological superiority, but through the power of thinking differently. As their ship detached from the ancient station, Zara looked out at the star-filled sky. The galaxy suddenly seemed full of endless possibilities, and humanity was ready to tackle them all, one impossible problem at a time. A year had passed since Zora Khan and her team had awakened the ancient space station. Humans were no longer seen as galactic newcomers, but as respected problem solvers. However, their greatest challenge was yet to come. Zara stood before the Galactic Council, her heart racing. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of alien races. The tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. Zara Khan of Earth, the council leader, spoke, its voice echoing through the chamber. "We face a crisis. The Volan and Krix empires are on the brink of war. Traditional diplomacy has failed. We turn to humans for an alternative approach." Zara nodded, her mind already racing with ideas. "I'll need to assemble a team." The council leader's eyes narrowed. "Choose wisely, human. The fate of the galaxy may depend on it." Back on Earth, Zara made calls that left many scratching their heads. Her chosen team arrived at Starfix Station, Alpha one by one. First came Jake, a stand-up comedian known for his ability to find humor in any situation. Next was Aisha, a chef famous for fusion cuisine that blended flavors from around the world. Then Maria, a kindergarten teacher with a knack for solving playground disputes. Finally, Ravi, a video game designer specializing in strategy games. As Zara briefed them on their mission, doubt crept into their eyes. "Zara," Jake raised his hand. "I tell jokes. How am I supposed to stop a galactic war?" Zara smiled. "By being human. That's what they need." Their ship arrived at Neutralis Station, where the negotiations were to be held. As they stepped off, they were met with a wall of alien faces, some curious, others openly hostile. The Volan, tall and slender with iridescent skin, stood on one side. The Krix, stocky with multiple arms and eyes, gathered on the other. Neither looked ready to talk. Zara's team got to work. Jake started cracking jokes, careful to poke fun at humans more than anyone else. At first, there were only confused stares, but slowly, almost reluctantly, a few aliens began to chuckle. Aisha set up a kitchen, filling the station with mouth-watering aromas. She created dishes that combined Volan spices with Krix proteins, producing flavors that had both species coming back for seconds. Maria organized what she called galactic playdates. She had Volan and Krix representatives work together on simple tasks, like building structures with blocks or solving puzzles. Many grumbled, but soon found themselves enjoying the challenges. Ravi worked tirelessly on a complex simulation game. It allowed Volan and Krix players to build a shared civilization, forcing them to cooperate for mutual benefit. There were setbacks. A joke by Jake nearly offended an entire Volan delegation. One of Aisha's dishes caused an allergic reaction in a Krix diplomat. But each time, the team regrouped, adapted, and tried again. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. Volan and Krix representatives were seen sharing meals, laughing at the same jokes, and excitedly discussing Ravi's game strategies. But the final peace talks loomed, and both sides were still far from an agreement. Zara knew they needed one last push. On the night before the final negotiation, Zora brought everyone together. The station's main hall had been transformed. Aisha's food stations lined the walls. Maria's team-building games were set up in corners. Ravi's game glowed on large screens. In the center stood Zara and Jake. As the Valen and Krix delegates entered, Zara began to speak. But this was unlike any diplomatic speech ever given. She wove a story, a vision of a future where Valen and Krix worked together. Jake jumped in with perfectly timed quips, keeping the atmosphere light. They invited aliens to sample Aisha's food as they described new worlds. Maria's games became metaphors for cooperation. Ravi's simulation showed the prosperous future they described. It was diplomacy, but not as the galaxy had ever seen it. It appealed not just to logic, but to emotion, to hope, to the shared desire for a better future. As Zora's tale came to an end, silence fell over the hall. Then, slowly, a Volan representative stood. "We have been foolish," he said softly. A Krix diplomat rose next. "As have we." What followed was not just a ceasefire, but the beginning of a genuine peace process. The Valen and Krix, inspired by the human approach, began to see each other not as enemies, but as potential partners. As news of the successful negotiation spread, Zara and her team found themselves hailed as galactic peacemakers. They had proven that humanity's greatest strength lay not in technology or military might, but in their creativity, empathy, and unique way of bringing people together. Zara looked at her unlikely team of diplomats. A comedian, a chef, a teacher, and a game designer. She couldn't help but smile. In a universe of advanced civilizations, it was humanity's all-too-human qualities that were changing the galaxy, one laugh, one meal, one game at a time. The stars seemed brighter that night, full of new possibilities, and humanity was ready to face whatever challenges the universe had in store next. 2 years had passed and Zora Khan and her unconventional team had brokered peace between the Valen and Krix empires. Humanity's reputation had grown from skilled repair technicians to respected diplomats and problem solvers. But their greatest challenge yet was about to begin. Zara stood before the Galactic Council, her eyes wide with surprise. The council leader's words echoed in her ears. "We propose a grand sporting event to foster unity among all species. Humans will organize it." As murmurs filled the chamber, Zara's mind raced. How could they create a fair competition for beings with such diverse physiologies and abilities? Back on Earth, Zara reassembled her team. Jake the comedian, Aisha the chef, Maria the teacher, and Ravi the game designer. She also added Sam, a sports scientist, to the mix. "A galactic Olympics," Zora explained. "We need to make it work for everyone." The team dived into research, studying hundreds of alien species. They worked tirelessly, designing events that could accommodate a dizzying array of body types and abilities. But as news of the event spread, resistance grew. The Zoth, a race of energy beings, declared it beneath their dignity to participate. The Gronks, giant creatures from a high-gravity world, feared they would be seen as clumsy. Zara's team tackled each problem with human ingenuity. For the Zoth, they created an event that measured the beauty of energy patterns. For the Gronks, they designed a low-gravity obstacle course that showcased their strength and agility. The day of the opening ceremony arrived. The stadium on neutral planet Olympus was a marvel of human creativity. Holographic displays shimmered, showing the flags of 1,000 worlds. The air buzzed with a mix of excitement and apprehension. As aliens of all shapes and sizes filed in, Jake took the stage. His jokes, translated into hundreds of languages, slowly warmed up the crowd. Laughter, in all its alien forms, began to fill the air. Aisha had prepared a feast of cosmic proportions. Foods from across the galaxy were available, with her special fusion dishes stealing the show. Even the pickiest eaters found something to enjoy. The ceremony itself was a spectacle. Maria had worked with alien children to create a performance that showcased the unity and diversity. Dancers with tentacles twirled alongside those with wings, while singers of all species harmonized in a galactic choir. As the games began, there were inevitable hiccups. The anti-gravity track event had to be recalibrated when a Floetian athlete nearly drifted into orbit. The multi-armed wrestling match ended in a tangle of limbs and confusion. But Zara and her team worked tirelessly, adapting and improving on the fly. Ravi's virtual reality systems allowed spectators to experience events from the athlete's perspective, bringing new levels of excitement and understanding. The turning point came on the third day with an event called Cosmic Cooperation. Teams made up of different species had to work together to navigate a complex maze, each using their unique abilities to overcome obstacles. The event captured the imagination of all. Suddenly, the spirit of friendly competition took hold. Aliens who had never interacted before were now cheering for each other. The Zoth, who had initially refused to participate, put on a dazzling display in the energy pattern event, earning a standing ovation from the entire stadium. As the games progressed, something magical happened. Species that had been bitter enemies found themselves sharing meals, laughing at the same jokes, and celebrating each other's victories. The Galactic Olympics had become more than just a sporting event. It was a celebration of diversity and unity. The closing ceremony was a bittersweet affair. No one wanted it to end. The stadium buzzed with talk of the next Olympics, with multiple planets offering to host. Zara stood on the stage, her team beside her, as the council leader addressed the gathered species. "The humans have done it again," it said, its voice filled with warmth. "They have shown us that our differences are not barriers, but strengths. They have united us in ways we never thought possible." As cheers erupted across the stadium, Zara felt a surge of pride. Humanity had once again used its unique qualities, creativity, adaptability, and the ability to find common ground, to bring the galaxy together. In the years that followed, the concept of sports diplomacy spread across the stars. Interspecies leagues formed, and friendly competitions became a tool for fostering understanding between different worlds. Humanity's role in the galactic community continued to evolve. They were now seen not just as fixers or peacemakers, but as innovators and unifiers. Their gift for bringing out the best in others, for finding connection in the face of incredible diversity, had changed the galaxy in ways no one could have predicted. As Zara and her team headed home, tired but elated, they knew that this was just the beginning. In a universe full of advanced civilizations, it was humanity's all-too-human traits that were shaping the future. And the future, it seemed, was bright indeed. A year had passed since the groundbreaking Galactic Olympics, and humanity's star continued to rise. Zara Khan, now a household name across the galaxy, found herself once again standing before the Galactic Council. "We face a crisis," the council leader announced, its many eyes blinking in concern. "Our youth are unprepared for the challenges of our changing galaxy. We need a new approach to education. We need humans." Zara's mind raced with the enormity of the task. How could they create an education system for beings with tentacles, psychic powers, or hive minds? Back on Earth, Zara assembled her most diverse team yet. Alongside her usual crew, she recruited educators from every level. Sarah, a kindergarten teacher known for her creative methods. Dr. Patel, a university professor specializing in adaptive learning. And many more. Their first step was to learn. They traveled the galaxy, observing schools on 100 worlds. They saw telepathic lectures on Zorth, virtual reality history lessons on Proxima b, and swarm learning among the insectoid Hiviki. But resistance was brewing. The Quillari, proud of their million-year-old traditions, refused to change their rigid system. The Zobulon hive mind feared individuality would weaken their species. Zara's team tackled each challenge with human ingenuity. They designed a modular system that could adapt to each species' needs while introducing core human concepts. Critical thinking was taught through galactic debate clubs. Creativity was fostered in multi-species art collaborations. Emotional intelligence became a cornerstone, with students learning to understand not just their own feelings, but those of entirely alien minds. The pilot program launched on Starbase Omega, a diverse space station hosting 50 different species. The first day was chaos. Telepathic students overwhelmed their empathic teachers. Anti-gravity races collided with silicon-based life forms in the hallways. But slowly, things began to change. A young Kulari, always bound by tradition, proposed a revolutionary solution to an ancient mathematical problem. The Zobulon drone developed a unique personality and became a bridge between individuals and the hive. Success stories spread. On Proxima b, a mixed class of photosynthetic and chemosynthetic beings worked together to terraform a virtual planet, learning biology, physics, and teamwork in the process. The Hiviki Queen herself contacted Zora, amazed at how her drones were developing problem-solving skills she had never imagined possible. As the new system spread across the galaxy, humanity's role evolved once again. Human teachers became prized across the stars, known for their ability to inspire and adapt. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. On Zorth, a group of young telepaths used their new critical thinking skills to challenge the planet's ancient case system, leading to social upheaval. The human team worked tirelessly with Zorth leaders to navigate this cultural shift. 5 years after the program's inception, the first wave of students graduated. They were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. A Kulari scientist worked alongside a Zobulon philosopher to develop new theories of cosmic consciousness. A Hiviki drone became a celebrated artist, its sculptures a blend of collective wisdom and individual expression. At the graduation ceremony on Starbase Omega, Zara stood before a sea of diverse faces, tentacled, furred, scaled, and everything in between. "You are the future," she said, her words translated into 1,000 languages. "You've learned not just facts and figures, but how to think, how to create, how to understand one another. You are the bridge builders, the problem solvers, the dreamers who will shape our galaxy." As cheers erupted in a cacophony of alien sounds, Zara felt a swell of pride. Humanity had once again used its unique gifts to change the galaxy for the better. In the years that followed, this new generation began to make its mark. Breakthroughs in science, art, and philosophy flourished. Conflicts that had lasted millennia found peaceful resolutions. The galaxy was entering a new age of innovation and cooperation. But as Zara and her team celebrated their success, a new challenge loomed on the horizon. Strange signals were detected from beyond the galaxy's edge, hinting at unknown civilizations with unimaginable differences. Zara smiled. Whatever was out there, she knew that the galaxy, united, educated, and inspired by the human spirit, was ready to face it together. As she looked out at the star-filled sky, Zora couldn't help but wonder, what incredible adventure would humanity embark on next? In a universe full of advanced civilizations, it was the all-too-human qualities of creativity, adaptability, and the power to inspire that were shaping the future of all species. The next chapter of galactic history was about to unfold, and humanity was ready to help write it. 5 years had passed since the galactic education revolution, and the galaxy was thriving in a new era of cooperation and innovation. But as Zara Khan stood before the Galactic Council, she knew their greatest adventure was yet to come. "We've detected signals," the council leader announced, its voice trembling with excitement and fear. "From beyond our galaxy, we need an expedition. We need you, Zora." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of alien voices. Some voiced support, others concern. Zora's mind raced with the implications. An intergalactic journey. First contact with a truly unknown civilization. The challenges seemed insurmountable. But that had never stopped humanity before. Over the next months, Zura assembled her crew. It was the most diverse group ever formed. The telepathic Zorth, the silicon-based Kragans, the gaseous Aetheri, and dozens more. Each brought unique skills and perspectives. The ship itself was a marvel of engineering. Named Unity, it could accommodate every environment its varied crew required. Zara worked tirelessly with her old friend Ravi to design training simulations that would help the crew work together despite their vast differences. The day of departure arrived. Unity rose from its dock as millions washed from across the galaxy. Zara felt the weight of their hopes and fears as the stars stretched into lines, and they leaked beyond known space. The early days were challenging. Cultural misunderstandings led to heated arguments. The Hiviki drones struggled with making individual decisions. The solitary Quilleri found the constant interaction overwhelming. But slowly, things improved. Zara instituted cultural exchange days, where each species shared their art, music, and stories. Bonds began to form across species lines. Unity was becoming a microcosm of the galactic harmony they'd left behind. As they ventured further into the unknown, they encountered wonders and terrors. A storm of dark energy nearly tore the ship apart, but the Aetheri's unique perception of space-time allowed them to navigate to safety. A planet of living crystals tried to absorb Unity, but the Kragans' silicon-based biology let them communicate and negotiate their release. Through each challenge, the crew grew stronger, more unified. They were no longer just representatives of their species, but a true team. Finally, after months of travel, they reached the source of the signals. A massive structure hung in space. Not a planet, not a ship, but something in between. It pulsed with colors humans had no names for. First contact was unlike anything they'd prepared for. The aliens communicated through gravitational waves, their very thoughts altering the fabric of space. Traditional linguists were stumped, but Zara's team was anything but traditional. They combined the telepathic abilities of the Zorth, the mathematical brilliance of the Quilleri, and the spatial awareness of the Aetheri. Slowly, painstakingly, they built a bridge of understanding. They learned the aliens called themselves the Flux. They existed in multiple dimensions, perceiving time as a physical space. Their technology, their art, their very bodies were beyond the comprehension of most of Unity's crew. In turn, the expedition shared the richness of their galactic culture. The Flux were fascinated by the diversity of thought, of form, of existence that Unity represented. A cultural exchange began, with both sides learning and growing. But on the 15th day, disaster struck. A miscommunication led the Flux to believe Unity was attempting to alter their dimensional state. Energy tendrils lashed out, nearly destroying the ship. In that moment of crisis, every member of Unity's crew played a part. The Hiviki formed a living shield. The Quilleri calculated emergency maneuvers. Zara and the Zorth projected thoughts of peace and understanding. Their unified response made the Flux pause. In that moment, real communication finally happened. The misunderstanding was cleared, and a true exchange of ideas began. As Unity prepared for the long journey home, Zara looked at her crew with pride. They had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, wiser, more united than ever. The return to their galaxy was met with jubilation. The knowledge they brought back would transform science, philosophy, and culture. But more than that, they brought back a new perspective on their place in the universe. As Zara gave her report to the Galactic Council, she couldn't help but smile. "We went seeking aliens," she said, "but we discovered how alike we all are. Our differences make us stronger. Our unity makes us unstoppable." The council chambers filled with cheers. Plans were already being made for future expeditions, for cultural exchanges with the Flux, for a new era of intergalactic relations. As Zara looked out at the familiar stars of home, she felt a sense of wonder. Humanity had come so far, from fixing spaceships to uniting a galaxy to bridging the gap between galaxies. What incredible adventures still lay ahead. Whatever the future held, She knew one thing for certain: the human spirit of curiosity, adaptability, and unity would light the way forward, not just for Earth, but for all sentient beings across the cosmos. The intergalactic age had begun, and humanity was ready to help write its story. 50 years had passed since humanity's first intergalactic expedition. Zara Khan, now a revered elder with silver hair and eyes that sparkled with a lifetime of adventures, stood at the window of her space station apartment. The view before her would have been unimaginable in her youth, not just stars and planets, but entire galaxies, connected by shimmering lines of communication and travel. But today, that magnificent view was marred by a strange, ominous glow that seemed to eat away at the very fabric of space. "Ambassador Khan," a voice chimed, "the Cosmic Council is assembling. Your presence is requested." Zara sighed. Even at 97, the galaxy, no, the universe, wasn't done with her yet. The Cosmic Council chamber was a marvel of engineering, a space where representatives from multiple galaxies could coexist in their native environments. Zara saw familiar faces, descendants of her old crew, alongside beings that defied description. The council leader, a being of pure energy, spoke. "A cosmic event of unprecedented scale threatens not just one, but multiple galaxies. Our greatest minds are baffled. We need a human perspective." Zara couldn't help but smile. Some things never changed. As the council argued, Zara's mind raced. The solution clicked just as it had so many times before. She raised her hand, and the chamber fell silent. "We've been looking at this all wrong," she said, her voice strong despite her years. "We're trying to solve this as individual galaxies, but we're not separate anymore. We need to work as one cosmic community." Her proposal was radical. A massive project combining the knowledge, technology, and unique perspectives of every civilization across multiple galaxies. Many scoffed. Some argued it was impossible. But Zara Khan had built a career on making the impossible possible. Over the following months, Zara worked tirelessly. She assembled a team that boggled the mind. Engineers who existed in 11 dimensions, scientists who perceived time backwards, artists who communicated through gravitational waves. The Cosmic Laboratory, as it came to be called, was a space station of unprecedented scale. It hung in the space between galaxies, a neutral ground where all could come together. In its halls, technologies mixed and merged in ways never before imagined. Progress was slow at first. Languages, both spoken and scientific, had to be bridged. Cultural misunderstandings led to setbacks, but slowly, surely, understanding of the cosmic event grew. Then disaster struck. An experiment went wrong, and an entire section of the laboratory was vaporized. Old mistrusts resurfaced. The project teetered on the brink of collapse. Zara knew what she had to do. Despite protests from her doctors and family, she traveled to the laboratory. Her arrival was met with whispers and stares. The legend herself coming out of retirement for one last mission. For 2 weeks, Zara worked nonstop. She moved from team to team, not as a leader, but as a mediator, a problem solver, a source of inspiration. She reminded them all of what they could accomplish together. On the 15th day, as Zara's strength was fading, a breakthrough came. The cosmic event wasn't a disaster, it was a birth. A new form of space-time was emerging, incompatible with the old. The combined genius of multiple galaxies had found a way to guide this birth, to integrate the new with the old. But the solution required sacrifice and trust. Every galaxy would have to lend its energy, leaving them vulnerable. The decision had to be unanimous. Zara stood before the Cosmic Council one last time. Her hair was disheveled, her eyes tired, but her voice rang with conviction. "I have seen the impossible become possible more times than I can count. But always, it was because we dared to reach out to each other, to trust, to unite despite our fears." One by one, the galaxy representatives voiced their agreement. The plan was set in motion. Zara watched from the laboratory As the cosmos lit up with energy, galaxies reached out to one another, forming a web of light and power. For a moment that seemed to last an eternity, the entire universe held its breath. Then, slowly, the ominous glow began to fade. In its place, a new cosmic structure emerged, beautiful, stable, and teeming with possibilities. As celebrations erupted across multiple galaxies, Zara smiled softly. Her journey, which had begun with fixing spaceships, had led to this, the dawn of a truly united cosmos. We started as explorers of the unknown. We became unifiers of the distant. And now we stand as cultivators of the cosmic future. For humanity, and for all sentient beings, the greatest adventure is just beginning.